Hi, fifth graders. All right, so we're going to be starting our ugly dolls today. And so the first step in designing or creating an ugly doll is drawing it out and designing what you want. And so I drew out my ugly doll. I want to emphasize to make your appendages, like your arms and your legs, or horns or ears or anything that sticks out, make them thick, because if they are skinny, it is going to be so hard to stuff them. If you draw something out, I am more than happy to help you make it bigger so you don't have problems down the line. All right, so what I did was I drew out my ugly doll. I designed it how I wanted it to look, and I marked where I'm going to have the running stitch. So for my details, I am going to do a whip stitch for one of the details, and I'll show you how to do that in this video. And the whip stitch, we are going to be doing the whip stitch all the way around the ugly doll. All right, so after you have your design on paper, and use most of the paper, because the paper that I give you is going to be about the same size as the felt. So we want these to be as big as the paper as we can help it. All right, so the next step is to cut out your paper design. All right, after I cut out my paper design, next step is I have my two pieces of felt. They don't have to be the same color. So if you want one side to be one color and the back to be another color, that is totally fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip my little ugly doll over, and I am going to just make some like little tape circles so he sticks to the felt. So it doesn't move when we trace it. And then I'm going to stick them right in the middle of that. Then what I'm going to do is I am going to trace with Sharpie the outline of my ugly doll. Be very careful. Go slow, because you get your two pieces of big felt, and then that's it. Not giving you any more, because felt is expensive. Mrs. Valens doesn't have any more money in her budget to buy any more things. So make sure that you are careful and you're using things sparingly. Okay. Take that off. Now I have the outline of my doll. So we're going to cut these both at the same time so they're the exact same size, so you don't have to do it twice on two pieces of felt. So in order to do that, after you have your design on there, you're going to take some tape, and we are going to just, in a few places, maybe like, I would say like one piece of tape per edge or per corner, and put those around so they don't move as we're cutting. When you're cutting, don't use like the scissors you have. If you have big scissors, that's fine, but otherwise use the ones I have. And remember, the sharpest part is near the middle of the scissors, not at the end. You're going to take your time and make small cuts and go slow. All right, now I got my 2 pieces of felt, and they're both the same. And so these scrappies right here, take the tape off them. Whenever you cut from a large piece of felt, or even from the scrappy bin, like if it's like a super tiny piece that no one can ever use, that can be discarded. But like things like these, people can use these for eyes and for extra details. So never throw it away. Put it in the scrappy bin, and some other student can use these for things. But take the tape off first. I don't want to see any tape in the scrap bin. Okay, I'm going to put these off to the side. They will go in the scrappy bin later. You might see them. All right. So now we need to separate them because, hold on, because we need to, hold on, I'm just kind of like lining it up. There we go. So I flipped my Sharpie one and I flipped the other one. So it's inside out, so we hide that Sharpie line. So now it's time to sew on the details. We've done that with our practice pillow, and so with just one, if you have details on the back of your ugly doll, you might need to sew those there, but you're just going to work with one because if you do both at the same time, you won't be able to stuff your ugly doll. Remember, don't knot it at the needle, knot it at the end. And remember, for all details, you want to start on the back and end on the back. So what I can do right now is I could tie it off, or actually I could create that. Ooh, I ripped him. Oops, that's fine. He's okay. You're okay, ugly doll. I could create that X. I'll show you how to create that. So all you do is you pick a place from the back where you want to start. And it's just like that long running stitch for the mouth, like when we did the practice pillow. Make sure you kind of straighten it out as you're doing this. So I just made a line right there. Now I'm going to go up from the back again. And then make a line down here. Just like so. So now I have my eyeball and my X. And so since I'm done with my eyeball, I'm going to give it that little Sharpie iris. Or you can sew on a different color. It'll be really tiny, but that's up to you. And so now I'm going to end it off because I want to change colors for my nose. Do I want to do the mouth in white? No, I want to do the mouth in black. Let's see where the scissors. I lose things all over the place. Okay, so make sure you have enough to tie it to that very beginning so that doesn't go away. There we go. And now I'm going to start to stitch on my nose, maybe my mouth, maybe I'll do the heart, we'll see. So if you want to do the whip stitch around a detail, I think it looks really cool. You kind of have to pinch it to get it around both pieces of fabric. So like that. So pinch, make sure it's out of your way. Use the table because that's 3 pieces of fabric that they're going through because you're pinching it. So if you want that kind of look, that's what you have to do. All right, I finished that up and I'm going to end on the back and I'm going to tie. Now it kind of looks like a mess back here, but that's okay. You're not going to see anything, or no one's going to see anything. All right, so now for getting the whip stitch ready, you're going to want to put your pieces together. And same like what we did when we cut it out, I would recommend putting tape around so it doesn't move as you're making the whip stitch. So like I would say like some important parts like the appendages and things like that. It really doesn't matter where you start your whip stitch, but I would start in like, I don't know, a place that's not so noticeable. Like I wouldn't start at like the tip of the ear. Like maybe I would start kind of like, I don't know, maybe in an armpit or something like that. So as this is taped together, when you get to a piece of tape, you're going to remove it when you get there. You're not going to sew over the tape. Okay. Man, this ugly doll's looking kind of rough. Looking like he's been through some stuff. He's seen some things. I would get about 2 arms length. If I run out, I'll show you how to add more on. Okay. All right, so for the whip stitch, we're going to start by like, where do I want to start? I'm going to start like in this armpit right here. So, oops. Just going to start by going from the back. Pulling that all the way through. Leave this end because we'll tie that off when we get all the way back around. Remember, you whip it to the back, make sure it's out of your way, and then bring the needle forward. You want to make sure that your stitches are nice and close together because that's how it's going to keep the fluff out, or in, not out, keep the fluff in. So make sure that they're nice and close together. They don't have to be like touching, but you should keep them nice and close together. So take your time during this. This is all about patience and focus. All right. Oh my gosh, I almost like forgot to stop and start stuffing. So I would say this would be like ideal, the size for stuffing. And so I'll use your tool like a pencil or something to stuff in those appendages. You can stuff as you go, but it's kind of hard to like keep together and look nice and clean. So good thing I remembered that I need to stuff this doll. So now I got most of the stuffing in, stuffed the appendages and stuff like that. So I'm going to like sew the last appendage, this arm halfway, and then stuff it, and then keep on sewing. It's important as you get to the end to pinch it so you're not getting stuffing coming out. Almost to the end, a couple more stitches. I actually didn't need to add any more thread. That's very odd. So I guess 2 wingspans would be pretty good. But I can always show you in class if you need to add more. All right, so I sewed it all together. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this off. And where I started, I'm just going to make a knot. Tie that really tight. And then I'm just going to trim off these extra strings. Bam! We have our ugly doll, who is very cute. Thanks for watching.